Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well in spite of the weather and the snow and everything going around. Today we are going to learn some new programming concepts. One is how to use comments in your code, then how to add color to your sketches. We'll also see what the tech assignment 2 is. It is going to be due next Wednesday, so we'll get an introduction to that. Before that, let us see what we learned in the last class. We saw what an integrated development environment was. It is nothing but the processing window that you see in the tool. So in that you have a text editor window, or where the place where you write your code. You have a console window, and then you have a window which shows you all the errors that your code has. Next, we saw the differences between different programming languages. We learned about methods or tasks and writing them using the right syntax. It is very important to use unambiguous language so that the processor knows exactly what you want it to do. Let's start with comments. So comments are parts of the program that are ignored when the program is run. So you have, for example, you have an instruction like size 500 and 500 which ends with a semicolon. If you need to write information about this particular instruction, then you can write it after giving two forward slashes. So whatever goes after these two forward slashes is called a comment. It is used to store information about the instruction, which is just one of the two uses that comments are used for. Anything beyond the two slashes is going to be ignored and not considered in your code. So you can write whatever you want as long as it remains after the two forward slashes. Another uses of comments is to hide lines of code without deleting it. For example, if you want to try out an ellipse using two shades of a particular color, then one option is that you write the entire code, test it out, save it as, like the color one ellipse, and then you write another code with the second color and then test which one you like better. Instead of doing all that, another option is that you can add both the fill values and then just go and comment one of those lines of code. This way you can easily try out both the colors for that ellipse and see which one is good, and then still retain the earlier instruction for later use or to test it again. So those were the two uses of comments. Next, we move on to colors. We have already used methods like background and fill in the last class. Dr. Reader's video for this week shows how to use the stroke feature in order to add colors to your shapes or sketches. Another characteristics that we've seen is that the value for color starts from 0, which denotes the black color, and 255, which is for the white. The easiest way to remember this is we know that B falls much before W in the alphabet. So B has a lower value and W has the higher value. That is why B is 0 and W is 255. Just to make it easier to remember. The last time the method that we used was putting one of these values in the fill field. Now this time we are going to see two more methods. First one is RGB. RGB stands for red, green and blue. So it is just like a palette wherein you mix the different colors to get different shades. For how much quantity of a color do you need to mix in another one is decided by the numbers for each of those colors. 0 means the absence of that color, and the maximum value of the color can be 255. So for example, here we see that fill 255, 0 and 0. So 255 is for red, but then there is absence of green and blue. That is why the only color that we will get is red. So that is the output. In this one, you see that there are there is a little bit of green and a little bit of blue which is added to an to a large amount of red. This is how the pink color is generated, because we see red, some of green and some of blue gives you the pink color that is somewhere in between, which is the lighter shade of pink. Now let's look at the code. So this is the code. This is the code for the pink ellipse. I'm going to run it now. So we get a pink ellipse. This was method 2. Another method is to use hexadecimal values. Instead of seeing how to calculate those values, we are going to use a very easy method. In processing, you just go to Tools and Color Selector. Here you can select whichever color you want. Like if you want a darker shade, you can just go down, scroll to whatever place. You get a hexadecimal value here. Copy this entire value. Do not forget to copy the pound sign. Once you click on copy, close this window. In the fill bracket, all you have to do is add the hexadecimal value. Run the code. You see that you got a different color in this one. Let's call it dark pink. Now what I did is I replaced the fill command. Instead, I can have both the commands over there. So I'll just write fill and then paste. Let's add some comments to this code. So this is pink ellipse. This is a darker shade of pink ellipse. Depending on whichever we want, we can always comment the other one. So now we have this code ready, which can, depending on which shade we want, we can simply add comments or remove these comments and then just execute it. The tech assignment 2 is going to be using all the shapes that you have learned and everything about fill and colors. So step 1 of it is to go to Google Images for searching modern art using shapes. Modern art using shapes. If you search this, these are the kinds of images that you will get as results. So pick one of them, and that is the sketch that you have to draw using processing language. See that, so you see a lot of them in the Google search results. So whichever you want, you think you can easily do, you can pick that one. If you think it is easier to sketch, or you like the colors, or you just like the look of it. There are some very famous ones that you can also try your hand at. Those could be a little complicated, but I'm sure once you understand the concepts, then you can easily draw them. So this is the tech assignment 2 that you have to submit, work on it and submit on Wednesday. So choose the art that can be drawn using arc, line, ellipse and rectangles. These are the shapes that you have learned so far. If you need more help, you can always go to the help and then the references section, and then you can see if there are any more shapes or how you can work with the existing ones and add fill and color to it. Remember how things get overlapped. So whatever you write before goes at the back, and whatever you write after it keeps going on the front of the sketch. So that is something you need to remember very well while you're sketching this tech assignment. So complete drawing the entire sketch and fill it with colors using processing. So colors, you can mix and match, and you can do whichever colors you want. If you think that something else will look good, then you can just try your hand at that. But then the end result that we all want is to get something which looks like a nice sketch, like a modern art picture that you get out of the tool. It should all be executed at once. So that is about tech assignment 2. And if you have any questions, then you can always write to Dr. Reader or me, and we will be willing to answer your questions over email, or if we can meet if you want to. And I hope you all come ready with at least one sketch for the Monday's class, so that we can get started from there, if nothing else. Okay, then have a great weekend and see you Monday.